Wake up, neighbors! It's time to get litty. I think it is a perfectly reasonable thing as a human to want to be liked and want to be respected. I actually think we're programmed that way to an extent. We all want people to like us, right? But the problem comes in when we try to be liked, because the things that we do when we want people to like and respect us are actually counterintuitive to how we actually get people to do that. It's not something we can try hard about. It's not something we can people like me max. It's something we have to just be. So I've got 5 quick little cheat sheet points for you, which if you adhere to these, it's going to make that so much easier for you. The first mistake we make when we try to be liked for people is we start confusing being nice with being strong. If we go out and we think about being nice as something that's going to keep us safe, it just makes us forgettable. We're just another Cheeto in the bag, and it's not shaped in something funny, which is make people going to remember it. Nice guys, or people who go out there and try to be nice to people, end up just bending to other people's will. If we're in a confrontation or we're in a disagreement, more often than not, we're going to put aside what we want, what we believe, and what we think the right outcome is for that situation, because we just want to avoid the confrontation, right? We want to be liked. So already we're derailing ourselves. We're not standing up for the things we want, and our life is not going to go great if we're going to live it based off what other people think, what other people want us to do. And what's far more powerful than just being liked by someone else is being respected. So if we're giving away our choice, if we're giving away what we want, we're going to lose that respect immediately because we're just a pushover. So anytime we go out there and we lead by prioritizing trying to be liked, we're going to lose that respect, which is what's actually going to do the heavy lifting for us in these situations. Leading on from that, it starts to come to our boundaries. If we find ourselves answering texts immediately, if we find ourselves saying yes to whatever our friends want to do, if we're tucked up at home, if we're busy working, if we've got something we want to do, and then our mate messages us and say, hey, let's go do this, let's go out tonight, etc. And you're like, oh, I really don't want to do that, but I said no to him 2 weeks ago, so I can't say no now. He might think I'm a bad friend, and then he'll stop liking me, and ooh, I just need people to like me. That's a problem. And while we still have to make time for our friends, right, we've still got to have some compromise sometimes, because that's how we work together as a society. We still need to have our boundaries and be firm when we reinforce that. So we don't have to go out to our friends and say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't. I really wanted to do X, Y, Z, and blah, 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 blah. We can just simply say, oh, sorry, not tonight. I've already got plans. I'm busy. Leave it at that. We don't have to go out and try and over-justify ourselves to make these people feel like we have a real reason so they keep liking us. And whether consciously or subconsciously, people, men and women, are always going to test you in different ways. And if we're folding when it comes to those little tests, they're going to start pushing more. So it's important that we address this straight away and we have our boundaries in check, because if we try and address it later when it becomes too much and we say, hey, this is actually ruining my life, it's going to be so much harder and you're going to get far more pushback. So start embracing this now and don't think it's just a small thing that we can sweep under the rug and people are going to like us more. Because if we allow ourselves to tolerate that, especially when it comes to disrespect, we're just going to train the person to do it again and to a higher altitude to see what they can get away with. Leading to our third point here, being respected has a lot to do with the way we interact with people, it has a lot to do with setting our boundaries, etc. But in order to be respected, by default, we have to be someone that is worthy of respect. So if we haven't built ourselves into a man, if we haven't built ourselves into an avatar that actually commands respect, sure, we can use all these tricks and utilize the way we speak to people as a little bit of damage control, but we're not addressing the root problem and we're not in a default state as who we are, as someone who's going to command that respect immediately. And while money, physique, status, all these principles do really help with that, it really comes down to our presence and the way we're going to hold ourselves as we go through life and each situation. Every room that you walk into, there's 2 options. Option 1, people are going to know where you stand because that's the way you carry yourself. That's the way you've built up your life around you. Or option 2, they're just going to ignore you and you're okay with that because you're going to sneak into the corner, and if people ignore you, then they can't dislike you, they can't disrespect you, whatever, but we want to stay away from option 2. If we don't already have some frame of power, if we don't already have some frame which already commands that respect from people, anytime we speak, where it's just going to sound like background noise. It's just going to be filler dialogue for someone else. It's just going to be a skippable cutscene that they're not going to remember tomorrow. So we're no longer going to be someone who has to ask to be respected, right? We're going to become someone who cannot be ignored, whether or not people are going to like us for that. Because I want to make it very clear to you that when you decide you're going to be someone who can be respected, a lot of people are not going to like you for that, and that's okay. We do not care. As soon as we decide that everybody has to like us no matter what, we've lost, and we're going to start breaking ourselves down through that. And if we're asking to be respected, where does that come from? That comes from our fourth point I got for you here. And it's very easy for me to say to a camera when I'm shooting a YouTube video, be someone they can't ignore. But the way we go about that is also very important, because if we go about it as someone who has to explain to people why we can't be ignored or try and force it upon them, that comes across as desperation, and it goes against everything that we're trying to do. If we're going in there over-explaining, oversharing, trying to be impressive, that's not actually the real confidence that we're trying to build. If we have that real confidence already, then we wouldn't have to go out and tell people, I'm so confident, I'm so confident. We can move in silence, and people can observe the way we're moving around, the way we're talking, the way we live our life, and they can understand it from that. And that's what the true respect is going to be generated by. Because every time we go out and we try and convince someone of who we are, we try and convince someone of our value, we are telling them that we ourselves don't believe it yet. It's an admission. We're admitting that we're not quite that person yet, but we would like you to believe we are. And that applies to so many things, to so many standpoints in the world today. If you ever go out and you see someone who has to stand on the street and yell about who they are, how you should treat them, the pronouns you should use, by them doing that, they are admitting to themselves and to everyone around them that even they don't believe it. And they're trying to convince everybody of that fact. So do with that what you will. And the final thing, which you absolutely must not do ever if you want to be someone who is actually respected, is go ahead and betray yourself in any way, shape, or form to try and keep the peace, try and keep the harmony of whatever situation you're in. And that can be any number of things, some of them incredibly small, anything like agreeing when you disagree, laughing at something that's really not funny, or just simply shrinking to try and fit into that situation. And that can falsely be represented by peace in our mind, but it's not. What it really is just another form of self-abandonment. And people can feel that. People can unmistakably feel that. Humans are incredibly smart creatures. It may seem like a lot of people out there aren't, and I wouldn't blame you for saying that, but if you betray yourself to them, they will notice, and they will not value you as a result of you doing that. And if I had to sum up these 5 points in one, it would be as simple as this. Say less, but mean more. Hold your boundaries, build your power, move like someone with a real purpose. And that's how we earn and generate that respect without ever having to ask for it.